let's get this thing going. So I decided to do something different today. I actually decided to do this as a quick live stream. It's probably going to be about 30 to 45 minutes today of me going over the top 8 quarterbacks who will be eligible for the 2026 NFL draft. So normally I put this out as a recorded video, but as I was up a little bit later, just kind of going through everything I needed to go through, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just do this thing as a live stream. So good morning, Beast. What's going on, man? Shout out to you. So I decided to do this live stream because I'm like, I can knock this thing out about 30, 40 minutes. I don't need to go through the edit and all that stuff. We're going to do this thing live. We're going to knock it out. So we've heard all about the 2026 draft and how much better the 2026 draft is going to be. You would think that they have Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady after he won Super Bowls. We're all in this upcoming draft. And I said, you know what? If they're going to knock quarterbacks in the 2024 draft, or I'm sorry, the 2025 draft, I'm going to pay attention to the quarterbacks all throughout the year in college and see what they actually are and what they can actually do. So that birthed this series. This is a weekly series that I do where I just talk about the top 8 draft eligible QBs that they were hyping up prior to the start of the college season. Because what I'm noticing is as these QBs don't live up to the standard that they have set for them, they are starting to move off them, and new quarterbacks they're just starting to speak on that came out of nowhere, like the quarterback for Oklahoma, which all of a sudden now they're starting to speak on him. And it's like, nah, that's not gonna work. We on to you. We see what you're doing. So we're not gonna belabor this thing. Like, comment, and subscribe. I am OffThaRecordDee. This is Eliminate the Gray. You'll be able to get this anywhere you listen to podcasts. Just search Eliminate the Gray or OffThaRecordDee. Remember the is THA. So let's get this thing going. So let's get this graphic up for you so you can see. So this is my top QBs graphic. Every week I'm going over these 8 QBs and we're going to rank them and see who comes out on top for week 3 in college football. So let's get this thing started. Let's get to the first QB. The first QB we have here, this is going to be Lenore Sellers. And this isn't as much performance based like it will be for some of the other QBs. He was knocked out of his game against Vanderbilt really early. He got knocked out on the targeting, like a helmet to helmet hit from the linebacker on a blitz. And he only was there for a few snaps. So he had, I believe he had 10 plays because he had 3 rushes and he had 7 pass attempts. He was 6 of 7 for 94 yards. He did throw an interception, but his game was just cut too short. He had a QBR of 35. So his game was cut too short. So for that reason, he is in last place on this week's top QBs. He's in last place. And a lot of that is because he just didn't get the opportunity. He didn't really get the chance to play. So we're not gonna linger there. Let's move on to the next QB. The next QB, this QB was probably the most hyped QB that I've heard about in a very long time. So let's get this thing going. The next QB is Arch Manning. Arch Manning, is he a generational talent? Is he this? Is he that? Does he have all the tools? Is he fast? Is he strong? Is he big? Does he have the arm? All those things we heard about. And so far, it's been a no for a lot of people. So let's get this up. Now, Arch Manning, I told people what they were going to say about Arch. I said after the game at Ohio State, he's going to do a little bit better versus San Jose State. I called that he would have 300 yards and about 3 passing touchdowns. He actually just was under 300. He had 4 touchdowns in that game. So I called it. I knew he was going to bounce back there and make some things easy for him. The problem is you have to follow that up with another good game. And Arch was not able to do that. Now, he did not. I can't even say that like it's good. He was 11 for 25, 114 yards, one touchdown, one interception. His QBR was 26, is very low. Remember, QBR, when I'm saying QBR, it's on a scale of 0 to 100. So he got like an F minus on his QBR. But these are my issues when it comes to Arch Manning. The decision making is shaky. The fundamentals, which you would assume, man, he's a Manning, but you have to remember who his father is. His father is Cooper. His father is not Peyton. His father is not Eli. He's Cooper's son. Cooper was a receiver before the injury. I don't know if he's gonna go first round. I don't think Arch is coming out this year. I think if he's smart, if Arch is smart, Arch looks at the teams that are at the top, and the teams that I believe are going to be at the top of the draft who are quarterback needy. You're going to have, of course, the Browns. You're going to have the Saints. You're going to have the Jets. You're going to have the Steelers. You're going to have it's a couple other teams. I think it's like 7 teams. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I would say you just wait and determine if you want to go play for any of those teams. That's what I would do if I was him. I would not announce early that I was entering a draft or anything. But my issues with him are he's a running back right now. When it comes to reading the field, it's just not there. When it comes to him being able to get the ball to open to receivers, it's not there. And his footwork is not good. His left shoulder is rarely pointed in the direction of where he wants to go with the ball with his feet to match, his base matching that. He's trying these weird arm angles, and he's still making the bad decision. His interception was really bad. So they were running the play. He's rolling. Everybody's to the left, so they cut off half the field to make it an easy read for him. He's rolling to the left. He had a quick read. He didn't take it. So then he starts rolling back to the right. Now, mind you, all his receivers are to the left. It was 4th down, so he's trying to make a play. He rolls all the way to the right, throws all the way across his body to the middle of the field. It gets picked off. That's just a bad decision. You had to make that decision quick, or if you were going to run, you just had to follow the lanes that you were going and take off and run right away. So his decision-making is shaky. His fundamentals are not good. That tells me he will stay in college another year to get more experience, because it's just not there. It's not there. Arch is not it. They hyped him up so much, and he's not it. Let's get to the next QB. Next QB we got this week. Let's get this thing going. We have Cade Klubnik. Now, Cade Klubnik is another QB who they were speaking on, saying, oh, he could go number 1 overall. And I was kind of looking at him like, okay, well, prototypical quarterback. He looks cool. He looks tall. He looks like he can make the throws. His problem is decision making, and you can confuse him. You can confuse him very easily with pressure. And once he is under pressure, his decision making goes right out the window. So he was 15 to 26, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 56.2 QBR. So this is something that I noticed. Whoops, I'm going the wrong way. Let me get to my notes here. So first off, Cade Klubnik has thrown an interception in every game this year. So 3 interceptions. I believe he has 6 all of last year. At this pace, through half a season, he'll match his interception total from last year, which that's not good. He got fooled. He struggled. First off, let me get start here. He struggled for most of the first half. They weren't able to move the ball versus Georgia Tech team, which you would think that they would have the upper hand in. He got fooled on the interception, threw the ball right to the defender. So they disguised something, threw him off. He did bounce back. He threw a crazy 74-yard TD. His receiver made a great play. He had a chance at the end of this game. This is where the money's on the line, where you could turn it around for your team. They're in the red zone, and he can't get them in for a score. They had to settle for a field goal. The game is tied. Georgia Tech gets the ball. If he can score the touchdown and force Georgia Tech to have to go for the full length of the field, and do a under 2 minute drill. He was not able to do it. So that is going to impact how we look. If I had to pick one quarterback that I would say I was the most disappointed in so far this year, besides Arch Manning, it would be Cade Klubnik. I, 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 I just don't like the way things are going for him. I don't like the way things are going. All right, let's keep this thing moving. Who we got next? Actually, let me change this real quick because I don't want this to keep resetting the slide. So, all right, there we go. This should keep my slides in order. All right, let's go. We got the next QB. We got Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier he's been probably the most consistent, which based on how guys are playing, it's not saying that much. But he's been he's been the most consistent, but he's not just getting to that next level that you want to see. So they're playing Florida this week. This is knockdown drag out game. He was 15 or 27, 220 yards, one touchdown, one interception, 73 QBR. Now, this was I'm sorry, I know it's your boy Beast. This was a LSU defensive highlight reel. That's what this was. DJ Lagway throwing 5 interceptions. So just the defense, they had him confused. He still made some nice throws, but DJ Lagway was confused. Garrett Nussmeier made some nice throws. But he did the thing that just made no sense. On his interception, he's rolling to the right. He's rolling to the right or scrambling to the right. He's extending the play. He's not seeing anything open downfield. This is one of those ones you just throw it away. Now, there was a flag on the play, so I'm assuming he believed the flag was on the defense. Oh, and that. Oh, you're right. Was it Jeffrey who told me to look up DJ Lagway? Who told me it wasn't you? All right, it wasn't you, Beast. Who told me to look up DJ Lagway? All right, I'm gonna remember who it was. I thought it was you, but it wasn't you. We got to see who told me to look him up. Somebody told me to look him up. I was like, he ain't looking too good. Back to Garrett Nussmeier. So he's rolling to the right. It was a flag on the play. He's probably assuming the flag is against the defense. Instead of throwing the ball away and living to play another down, he throws across his body. Again, all these quarterbacks on their interceptions, these are like the worst decisions you can make. He does the same thing that Arch Manning did. He throws across his body into the middle of the field into traffic. It's an interception. And it's just a terrible decision. And all of these guys so far, besides Fernando Mendoza, have made these just terrible decisions thrown across their body into the middle of the field. You learn in high school you can't make that throw. And all of these guys are making that same mistake. And every week it's 2 or 3 of them that are making the same mistake. So that's where I'm looking at it and I'm saying, man, this doesn't make sense. That's a very basic fundamental thing that you have to get right, and they are not getting it right. So Garrett Nussmeier, he's been consistent, but that's where he kind of let me down. And I'm like, man, what are you doing? What do you got going on here? So just crazy. Let's keep this thing moving forward. All right, so next we have who we got up next? Who the next quarterback? We got Drew Aller. Now, Penn State hasn't really played anybody, and I'm not seeing Drew Aller dominate. And I want to see domination. And so I'm not just judging this strictly based on stats, because when you have the better skill players, you got the better line, you're overmatching these guys and your team doesn't dominate. I look at that as the quarterback is not doing their job to get them to a better level. So let's go. Drew Aller stats. He had the worst QBR. He was 16 of 29, 209 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a 19.6 QBR. So that's just bad. Going against Villanova, they're known for basketball. They're not known for football. Even though the score looks like that big blowout, it's not what you would think when it comes to the quarterback. So first off, like I said earlier, I want to see him versus better competition. Then he makes every game where I want to just put him on the bottom row. He makes a great throw where I'm like, okay, I can see why they like him. But He is throwing a pass. It's to his left. It's a running back coming out in the flat. All you got to do is throw the ball. He lofts the balls up. He lofts the ball up in the air. The DB comes, snatches it out the air, interception. And it was just a lazy play. And you are dominating this team. You're winning this game. You just have to make a better throw, and you got to make that decision sooner. And you can't put the ball in harm's way, which he did. So this week, it seems like every one of these guys was trying to say, you know what? I don't want to be at the top of your leaderboard, because all of them were doing something where you just had to knock them. You had to say, what are you doing? What is happening here? So I want to see him versus better competition. I believe Penn State has a bye week this week. So next week we will see. So I got to see more. I'm not seeing, like, I think I said this in my stream yesterday. When you just think of prototypical quarterbacks, I think these guys look like quarterbacks. So when I say look, I mean they have the height, they have the arm, they have those things. But where it gets shaky, all of their decision making is coming into play. Decision making is not the greatest for these guys. Let's get to the next quarterback. Next quarterback we have is Sam Levitt. Now, Sam Levitt, Arizona State, he might have the best wide receiver in the country. And his wide receiver, what is his name? Jordan Tyson, number 0. Man, he might be the top wide receiver. He is on Arizona State. They got some great running backs. That was the first thing I noticed when I first started watching Sam Levitt. I was like, man, when it comes to offensive firepower, they got 2 running backs who are really good. The best wide receiver, Sam Levitt, is super athletic. So let's go over his week. They played Texas State. He was 15 to 25, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, 69 QBR, no interceptions. He had 12 rush attempts, 1 TD on the ground. This is my issue with Sam Levitt. He does have a good arm. The problem is he relies on his arm, and he will just not set his feet. He'll be drifting back, trying to throw the ball. He's still making those mistakes. And also, he is a cheat code for a video game when it comes to athleticism from the quarterback position. So if you look at his highlights from this game, you don't even have to watch the whole game. Look at his highlights from last week's game and this week's game. In both of those games, he's making crazy plays in the backfield, making guys miss. He almost has that agility of a solid running back. So he had some times where he was in the pocket this week where the pocket was collapsing and crumbling. He made 2 defenders miss in the backfield, and he takes off and run. Then he had the highlight of highlights in this game was the D-line was coming down the barrel. They were coming down. He juked out 2 guys, got out of the backfield, starts rolling to his left, jumps in the air, makes a throwing pass to Jordan Tyson. He jumps up, he catches it. He's going up the sideline. He makes a guy miss really close to the sideline. He lunges into the touchdown and pushes off of 1 foot. And that play was just like, it was something where if I was playing Madden, like I used to play Madden back in the day, I would turn the game off. It was one of those type of plays that they made. And it was just insane. So Sam Levitt has the athleticism, has the arm. Decision-making is not as bad as some of the other guys, but he relies on him just being a better athlete a lot. And that's where you got to be careful with Sam Levitt. So some good things. Do I see first overall pick from him? I don't see it. I'm not really seeing that from most of these guys. So I'm not seeing the first overall pick. Let's see who we got next. Let's keep this thing rolling. Next QB we have is Carson Beck. So if you've been watching me or listening to this series, you know I have a certain level of bias against Carson Beck. I acknowledge it. I let people know in the first episode of this series, I said, hey, I got some bias against Carson Beck because if you're at Georgia with the amount of talent that's going to be around you and you're not able to dominate, I'm going to knock you for that. But Carson Beck is telling me to shut up so far this year. So his game, they were playing South Florida. South Florida's been playing pretty good this year. He went 23 of 28, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did have 2 interceptions. His QBR was 91.4. He also ran for a touchdown on the ground. So he started the game off well. Quick strike, I believe in 2 or 3 plays, they scored a touchdown. He was seeing the field really well in that first half until he threw his first interception. They just dropped back into zone coverage, and he kind of didn't recognize it, and he just threw it right to the defender. Defender jumps up, interception. Now, the second interception that he threw was on a tip pass. It's still an interception. So, the way I do interceptions is if a quarterback is the one that throws the ball, the lowest amount of blame he's going to get is 25%, and then the majority of it will go to the receiver, but you get some of the blame because it's on your stat line. So he did have those 2 interceptions, but he takes chances. So he has a very solid receiver as well. So he'll just throw it up to him. And I like that, especially when you realize that you're overmatched. Your team is way better than the team you're going against. I don't mind you throwing it up to your guys, giving them a chance to make a play. So he does that. I like it. And this is last week he was at the top of the board. This week he's in second place. Now, let's get to the top of the board this week. We have Fernando Mendoza. So before I started this series, I start seeing things with Fernando Mendoza's name just popping up. Man, the Browns, they could probably take Fernando Mendoza, number 1 overall. So after seeing those things, I was like, I got to watch this guy. I got to see what they're talking about when they're talking about Fernando Mendoza. So if you're not sure of him, he played 2 years at Cal, and then he transferred to Indiana. So he's currently at Indiana. And he did exactly what I want to see when you have the better team. So they were going against, who was this? Indiana State. He left no chance for them to lose this game. No chance at all. He had a 6 touchdown game, 5 touchdowns through the air, 1 touchdown on the ground. He's not as athletic as the other guys, but he can get himself out of a tough situation. He went 19 of 20, 1 incompletion, 270 yards, 93.4 quarterback rating. He balled out so much in this game that his brother got to come in a game and he threw for 2 touchdowns. So as a family, they accounted for 8 touchdowns in this game. They just balled out. This is the level of domination I want to see when you have a projected top 10 or lottery projected quarterback and you have a better team. I want to see you dominate. I want to see the game never be close. Never a doubt that Indiana State was going to have a chance to win, and that's what they did. So we got to see the full package. I've been waiting for a game like this from him. Every week I'm saying he's not popping off the screen. This week he told me to shut up. He jumped off the screen. He said, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to make sure I'm at the top of your leaderboard this week. So that's exactly what he did. Fernando Mendoza at the top of the leaderboard this week for his game against Indiana State. And this is the level of domination I want to see. This is what I want to see. A couple things I want to mention now that we went through the board. I got a couple more minutes before I get out of here. So when I'm looking at these quarterbacks, let me get this on the screen for y'all. When I'm looking at these quarterbacks, I'm going to tell y'all something that I'm noticing. So far, that's a great question. Before I go into what I was going to say, let me answer your question, Beast. Do you think any of them first round picks? Yes. I think if I'm picking in the top 5, from what I've seen, 3 weeks of football, 2 of these guys I would pick. Only 2 of them. 2 of them I would pick in the top 5. And that's based on, I'm looking at, do they have the tools? I'm looking at their decision making. I'm looking at how many sacks they take. I'm looking at all those things. I'm looking at, do they have enough starts? So for me, I'm setting the threshold. If you don't have 30 starts, 25 starts, I wouldn't take you in lottery. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take you top 5. you don't have at least 25 starts. So if you just go down through the list, it's going to knock off about half of the guys on the list. Let me pull this back up and I'll tell you real quick who doesn't have 25 starts. So Arch doesn't have 25 starts. Lenore Sellers doesn't have 25 starts. I would have to check Sam Levitt. Let's see. Let me double check. He might have some starts under his belt, but let me double check. Let's look at his bio real quick. No, game log. Yeah, I don't think he has 25 starts. I don't think Sam Levitt has 25 starts. So that's going to knock out Arch, Sam Levitt, Lenora Sellers. So now we're looking at Drew Aller, Kay Klubnik, Fernando Mendoza, Garrett Nussmeier, and Carson Beck. Carson Beck is warming up to me to be a top 5 because he's dominating. I think out of these guys so far, 3 weeks of me watching them, this could change by the end of the year. This is the way too out prediction because Beast asked me a great question. I think Garrett Nussmeier and Fernando Mendoza. Those are the two that I believe so far, if I was picking in the top 5, those are the two that I would say are first round picks. And I'll tell you even more. Let me get back on the screen. I'll tell you the reasons why. So the amount of experience they have, I think, is a plus. Also, let's go Garrett Nussmeier first. So Garrett Nussmeier, what they do at LSU is he has a lot of control at the line of scrimmage. So he's able to send late motions to try to identify what the coverage is. He's able to identify when he needs to go into a run from a pass. So he is making a lot of the decisions. It's not they're doing hand signals and telling him this is what they're doing. So since they put more on his plate, I think that's a quality that you will need going into the NFL. That's something I like from him. Fernando Mendoza is getting better week by week, and then he is doing everything you want to see from a quarterback. He's doing everything you want to see. He's making the throws. He doesn't have the same amount of turnovers as everyone else. 3 weeks of watching them, I don't think any of them are better than Shedeur. Now, this is only 3 weeks. I didn't watch them as closely as I watched Shedeur, and also I have the luxury of seeing Shedeur for 4 years. So for 3 weeks in, I'm not putting them up there with Shedeur, just because Shedeur did more with less, and we are seeing that. We are seeing what we see from Colorado's offense. You can't just say Shedeur wasn't the difference maker. Shedeur was the difference maker. He was the difference maker in Colorado. Travis Hunter was also the difference maker, but Shedeur made things happen even when Travis Hunter was out. So Shedeur is better than him at this point. Now, at the end of the year, they could get to his level, but they're not there. They're not there yet. They can get there at the end of this year, though. Shedeur also has more experience in him. So, do I think that I would tank this year for any of these guys? Would I go into this year intentionally trying to lose for these guys? No. Wouldn't do it. Would not just say we're going to lose this year for one of these guys. I would not set my team up for that. Now, this is a little bit different schedule for me this week. Since my new streaming schedule is Monday, Wednesday, I just decided to do this live because I just thought it would be better to get some interaction with everybody. Tomorrow's live stream, I'm going to give you all some clues of what we're going to talk about. So tomorrow's live stream is going to be back to NFL. It's going to be heavy Browns base. Look forward to Green Bay, their pass rush, what they present, problems they present. Also problems they present for the Browns defense. And we're also going to look at, so when I was saying the Browns Kevin Stefanski couldn't take advantage of cover one in the preseason, cover one is the main defense that Baltimore ran. It's the main defense that Baltimore ran. I got to do some more digging tonight, but I'm going to look at how many times Joe Flacco changed the play at the line of scrimmage. So if you're watching the TV copy, you're not going to get this on the all 22, but I'm going to rewatch the TV copy tonight and check and see how many times he canned the play. So for Cleveland, when Joe Flacco saying can, that means they had 2 plays based on what he sees in the defense, and he's getting out of that first play. So to me, Joe Flacco and Kevin Stefanski collectively could not really identify what Baltimore was doing. That's my initial thought when I'm going through this thing, because they wouldn't have been the type of routes that they were running. They were not running routes that could beat cover 1. And everybody said, "Oh, you got to let Joe Flacco throw over top." If Joe Flacco identified that they were running cover 1, at some point he would have went all verts, and he would have put the safety in conflict, made that safety decide who he was going to help over top, and he would have got the ball over top. They never got to a play like that. So just a little warning for y'all. What are we going to look at? We're going to go into the deeper dive. You know, some people, they look at, oh, the offensive line scored this. I'm looking at, why was the offense so bad? And the offense, a lot of the offense was so bad is because my early thoughts were correct, that they don't know what to do in cover 1. Cover 1, you need guys running away from guys. You need to find out which defenders you're putting in conflict. We didn't see that much. And then also cover 1 allows, so depending on which form of cover 1 they're running, the middle linebacker, who is Pat McQueen, who had 15 tackles, he can decide to rush or he can decide to play zone. So, and he can also pick where he's going to blitz at. So he has free reign to run the game how he wants to run the game. So when that happens, you know Joe Flacco isn't a threat to run the ball, run anywhere. So you can key in on blitzing, and you can also key in on stopping the run. Another thing, the reason why they couldn't run the ball, cover 1 puts so many guys around the line of scrimmage that you don't have the advantage running against cover 1. So in most cases in cover 1, you have your 5 down offensive linemen going against 6 defenders who are right there in the box. So they put the Browns in conflict. So when you're saying, oh man, the running game isn't good and guys are coming in free, that's why. When you talk about the stats of Quinshon Judkins, he had the most yards after contact. That means he's always getting contact first. They're going to hit in the backfield. They have to make somebody miss. The same thing with Dylan Sampson. So it was because of the defense that they were running. So the same defense I saw they had problems with in the preseason, and I thought it was an issue, is the same defense Baltimore runs primarily, and that's the same defense they had problems with. So just a little preview of what we're going to get into. We're going to take this thing to the next level. I'm not just going to be up here speaking on things without doing the research, digging in, deeper dive to give y'all a better understanding of what's happening in real time. So that's going to be what we're going to do for tomorrow's show. Just want to get in here, do this thing live, let y'all hear how I view these guys after we go through it. Y'all see who ended up at the top of the board this week. The top of the board was Fernando Mendoza. And remember, with this will change. This will change weekly. This is what they did in the game the previous week. So this is not just a running thing where, you know, guys move up and move down based on what they did 2 weeks ago. Nope. This is all about what have you done for me lately. So that's what this is. I appreciate y'all for being here. Just wanted to tap in, do this thing live. And I feel really comfortable doing live streams. So I was like, man, I could just do this thing live. So moving forward, I don't know if all of these will be live. I have to decide and see. But I want to do this one live, and then I'll be live tomorrow. We'll be talking about the Cleveland Browns. We'll be looking at where their issues came from, what caused the offense to be so bad, and if this is something that they can work on. So shout out to y'all for being here. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Quick little live stream. Tap into the replays. I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.